All right, so you know you're in first year when you're walking around with that around your neck. Don't make that mistake. In this video, I'm gonna break down my top 7 back to school essentials, as well as my top 5 biggest waste of money items always recommended to architectural students in their first years of university and college. If you stick around to the end of the video, I'm gonna share with you my absolute favorite item from this entire haul that I still use today as a qualified practicing architect that cost less than $40. But let me be clear, a back to school architecture haul is expensive. I hope your piggy bank is full because this isn't going to be cheap. Now, yes, you can absolutely 100% cheap out, but don't forget architecture is a very long degree, and if you're going back to school for architecture, you don't want to be buying things twice. So let's start off this video with my top 5 do not buys. It doesn't matter who tells you what, I guarantee you that all of these items will collect dust very, very quickly. The number 1 item on this list is a portfolio bag. I guarantee you that any first year architecture student walking across campus is carrying a portfolio bag. And at the same time, I guarantee you will never use it. Yes, they might try and tempt you to use it in the first couple of weeks, just so you get some value out of purchasing this couple $100 bag. But in reality, it's gonna sit in the back of your cupboard for 5 straight years while you go through your entire degree. So save your money, don't buy the portfolio bag. Next on the list is a storage tube, and yes, technically speaking, every architect depicted in every movie ever has some sort of storage tube and is carrying around hundreds of rolls of paper under their arms. But again, in the modern day and the modern age, you hardly ever carry around any papers. Yes, I still do carry around papers, and yes, you still will carry around papers. However, 1 roll of paper under your arm is absolutely fine. A little bit of water on it is never actually gonna happen. And the reality of you requiring a storage tube is so low, it is not worth the money at all. Third on this list is extremely controversial, and I guarantee you everybody is gonna advise against it. However, in my personal experience, I went out and bought every single architecture book available on the recommended list. That set me back close to $1,000 in my first year. And what I found out is that when you rock up to every single class with all those books in your backpack, ready to go, eager to learn, not one single time are you gonna have to pull out 95% of those books. So my honest opinion is go out to your first week of classes, cop the grunt that comes with it by not having all of the recommended books with you, and then make sure you purchase the ones that are 100% essential. You can find 90% of the information in a secondhand book or online for 100% free, so I don't think you need to spend all of the money on all of the recommended books. Second last on this list is Copic markers. Now, unless you are already an existing artist who knows what they're doing, freehand sketching, designing, and performing very well in 2D animations or even 3D representations on a piece of paper, Copic markers are going to be the biggest waste of money. Yes, they're phenomenal as an architectural tool. Yes, you can create some amazing 2D watercolor designs, landscape architecture, elevations. But if you don't know how to freehand draw, you're absolutely wasting your money, because nowadays they don't teach you how to draw in architecture school. They teach you how to design using digital software and technology. So unfortunately, the day of architects knowing how to draw and being trained to draw is long gone. Number 5 on the do not buy list, and the last one on this list, is a personal favorite of mine. It is the T-square. There is absolutely no reason any architecture student should still go around carrying a T-square. Now let's move on to the architecture essential must-buy haul list for all back to school architecture students. The number 1 on this list is coffee. Now, you're gonna need so much coffee to get through architecture school, because if you don't pull an all-nighter, have you really gone to architecture school? Whilst you're already at the supermarket grabbing your coffee, you may as well move on to number 2 and grab some baking paper. Now, traditionally speaking, architects use yellow tracing paper, and this is absurdly expensive. It can be anywhere from $50 all the way up to a couple $100 for some tracing paper. What I learned very quickly as a poor university student is go to the local supermarket, get some non-greased baking paper for $1 or $2, and it is the perfect tracing paper. Number 3 on this list, like I mentioned before, is a digital item. It is something that you're going to need to produce great quality work. And because nobody draws freehand anymore, that means you're going to be using the computer 24/7 to do your work. You are going to need a good laptop at architecture school, regardless if you're planning to work at home or at university. I do often recommend a PC rather than a Mac for all architecture students going in, because PCs cater to all of the architectural software, which I talked about in my last video, compared to what Mac is actually compatible with. So PC is by far the easiest choice if you don't know what software you're going to be using. To pair with a PC, you're going to need the perfect mouse. Carpal tunnel is dead serious in architecture, and you're going to need an ergonomic mouse. I have two of my personal favorite recommendations. One is the MX Logitech Master 3 mouse, which is the be-all end-all of all mice, and it is something that anybody will recommend to you for anything. However, the second mouse that I've personally found to be actually extremely comfortable while sitting and doing an absurd amount of work on the computer is the Kensington Wireless Mouse for Life. Now, I have linked all of these things down in the description below if you want to check them out. Next on the list is my absolute favorite black book in the world. This little black book is a typical Moleskine. It is a hardcover Moleskine, because as an architecture student, this is the one thing that you need to carry around everywhere. Without this Moleskine book, I probably would have failed my degree. I probably would have forgotten every single thing somebody taught me. But I used to go through about 3 to 5 of these every single semester because it was my Bible. Now, I recommend the Moleskine with the grid lines over any of the other Moleskines because it is incredibly versatile. You can do everything from architectural drawing through to some basic note taking on the grids, and the paper feels incredible paired with a great fine liner. Now, because we do live in 2022, you can very easily scrap the Moleskine and buy yourself a brand new iPad paired with an Apple Pencil. This thing will do everything that a Moleskine will, except it has a battery life. Personally, I used to go in with an iPad and then I would go back to my desktop at home to take all my notes whilst I was at university and actually do my work at home. So I never really had a great laptop that I always took into university and then did all of my work there because I didn't see the value in it. But if you're unlike me and you do actually want to go to university, stay at the college campus for as long as you possibly can and do all of your studyings in the dorm rooms, in the library, or wherever you see fit, you're probably going to need a good set of headphones. And you're probably going to want them to be noise cancelling as well. So a set of Beats by Dre will do the job perfectly well, as will some Apple AirPods Pro. But you will need a set of good headphones to be able to drown out all of the other students and basically stay in your flow state for as long as possible to do some of the best work for prolonged periods of time, especially at a huge time crunch. Anyway, that's all from me today, guys. Thanks so much for watching. My name is David Tomic, and if you enjoyed the content and want to see more of it, there is a playlist to the side of me with great architectural information available for free. And if you really love the content, I'd appreciate it if you smash that subscribe button. But like always, I'll see you next Monday.